Bienvenue, mesdames et messieurs, and welcome back to this Game 5 between Paris Saint-Germain and Fnatic Academy. And we'll soon find out if Paris Saint-Germain, our French team, have qualified for the promotion tournament for the EUCS. Comment ça va, Andy Vedieste?
Ça va bien, merci.
Your French is outstanding. This is the final standoff between Paris Saint-Germain and Fnatic Academy. The teams have one game to get their spot in the promotion tournament. Thus far, a turbulent affair. Teams trading win for win. We saw PSG taking the first win in a long game. Fnatic equalized it in an equally long game in the second game. And then PSG lost out to Fnatic in that third game. Looked like they were on the ropes for, well, they were winning for a lot of it, and then on the ropes after the game as Fnatic were able to just get one team fight and win it out. And then the Syndra happened. And PSG happened.
It did. That Syndra got a tiny bit fed. Blanc had, I would argue, one of his best games of the regular season. He was gifted...
10-0-3. I'm going to say that's probably one of the best games. Let's have a look at just exactly how he got ahead.
He was certainly gifted a few certain kills, like definitely worth praising him in the sense that he recognized an opportunity and he took advantage of it. Now, there certainly was a bit of a mistake for Amazing. I feel like he should have just backed away. Instead, this is where the snowball really started to happen. Blue buff, level 5, Blanc was just on a tear. He constantly had push priority over the mid lane. He was always looking around the map, looking for opportunities to get picks. And it was just like we said during the game, which was very much use this goal lead and spread it across to the other lane. Sharing is caring, and it really looked like the Blanc really cared for his teammates in that game.
I think the question that now arises is who can step up to the plate? It's basically a best of one. Whoever wins this wins just outright. They go through to the promotion tournament. They face up against either Giants or Origin and a double elimination bracket alongside Misfits Academy, of course. And you have to wonder, as we get into Champion Select, Fnatic have picked the red side once again, whether PSG will be able to overcome their blue side woes. They haven't won a game on blue side since that first game. Since then, losing consistently.
So, Medic, we said at the start of the day, a 5-course meal. This game will deliver just desserts, I feel. This is the game that we've long been waiting for. This is that chocolate pudding and custard that I think everyone's been excited for.
I like chocolate pudding and custard is delicious and all, but I'm much more a fan of a good chocolate protein shake. Get on that fitness
hype. That's ruined my dessert analogy, didn't you?
It's delicious, man. It's my treat at the end of a hard day's work.
Well, you're going to be treated instead with a Game 5. And I would much rather this over your silly protein shake, as we see so far. Pretty much standard stuff coming out from either side. The Karma will be taken away once again from Paris Saint-Germain. I wonder why they are banning this away, because every time they've been on blue side, they banned it away, but they had such a great game against it. Arguably, it was skewed by the Syndra, of course, so they're still showing a lot of respect towards it.
Ludo ban as well from PSG here. Now, this does leave Echo open, which is something PSG have been banning. Alongside that, Fnatic Academy have a choice to make. Do you get rid of the Tarm Kench? Do you get rid of the... any of the other picks that have done so well? I had another one in my head, the Graves. Do you get rid of the Graves? Do you get rid of the Rek'Sai? What's your choice?
Bear in mind that PSG have actually been the team to ban away Syndra Game 1, Game 2, Game 3. They got it for themselves in Game 4. Fnatic Academy are actually banning away the Azir. Now that's interesting. A lot of respect going towards Blanc. I think it's justified after his Game 4 performance. Right now, what we wanted to see was an early prioritization of the Ezreal. That's not going to be the case. They're going to get the Zyra instead. Bit of a gamble, I feel, but Paris Saint-Germain are saying, look, we still have other AD carries in our toolkit. Maybe they go back to the Tristana, which did actually work out pretty well for them in Game 3.
In all honesty, I think as long as you get the AD carry on this rotation, it's not really much of a risk, because you can get Jhin, you can get anything else that you want, and then instead, they decide that they want Kairei's Kha'Zix, and they want White Knight taking that Nautilus once again.
Thing is, now I just feel that we're expecting a carry to come out from Kikis. We're going to see a very similar play pattern to Game 2, where he brought out the Akali. He was put off onto a side lane, which Paris Saint-Germain had no answer for. I just think
Fiora.
I think the value on Nautilus, like, sure, it worked out very nicely for them in Game 2. Remember that Shen is still available as well, and here it is. She's back.
There is the Akali once again. Nowhere near as much excitement from Vedius this time, but still very good split push pressure, and it will be exciting and intriguing to see how Paris Saint-Germain decide to deal with it. Fnatic Academy once again going towards those AD carry bans. Lucy and Caitlyn is the expected, or Lucy and Jhin. Those are the two they've been looking towards. And the question now becomes, Paris Saint-Germain seem to have fallen on towards the draft that they had in the first few games, where they didn't quite look as strong. Can they now utilize this draft to actually be able to shut out Fnatic Academy.
Now, I think that if you are Paris Saint-Germain, you actually look to... do you ban away the Tahm Kench here, or do you just ban away the Malzahar? Like, it is still available. Fnatic could look to draft that one for themselves. The fact they ban away Echo implies to me that they are thinking about champions like the Syndra, like the Orianna as well.
So the Varus ban here from Fnatic does leave that Jhin open, which is what we've seen most played by Pilot across the split. He has won 4 of his 5 games with that as well, so very
risky to pick it into an Akali though.
It's true.
You really do lack the mobility to be able to kite her out, and she has a very easy time being able to flank around and dive on top of you too. So it's a big gamble. There's a Tahm Kench ban, so that will be taken off the board. Now in terms of supports, you could go for Nami if you want a little bit more lane dominance. You also have the availability of the Malzahar, and other possibilities include maybe a Thresh if you want to be a little bit risky.
It's going to be the Malzahar pick instead. There's an interesting symmetry to your point about picking Jhin into Akali, because the last time these two teams met, Pilot picked Jhin into an Echo. Or actually, the Echo was picked into the Jhin, and Kick has continually just got on that backline and destroyed the Jhin. It's actually the only time Pilot has lost on Jhin this split. And this time, a little bit more confident on. It's going to take that alongside the Syndra. And now Fnatic Academy have their mid lane counter pick.
I actually think that the risk you run here is you can actually, if you want to, move Akali to the mid lane. Assassins actually do pretty well into Syndra. Early on, they struggle, but around the level 6 mark, they really can do a number on the low mobility that Syndra has. Regardless, it will still be staying in the top lane. 1-3-1 coming out from Fnatic Academy once again. Paris Saint-Germain built themselves a team fight composition. It goes back to what we saw in Game 1.
And Game 2. And Game 3.
And Game 3, yeah. What we've been seeing a lot more, though, is there's a lot more pick and siege coming out from Paris Saint-Germain. The ability to use the Jhin ultimate combined with the Syndra Q is actually really good for siege onto these towers. And there is a severe lack of wave clear from the side of Fnatic Academy. So if Paris Saint-Germain can get this early lead, their ability to siege onto these towers will actually be very effective. But an even slight snowball in the favor of Fnatic Academy will result in the swift dismantling of Paris Saint-Germain when you have this double assassin comp.
Once again, it comes down to the jungles questioning how well Kikis is able to get snowballed by Amazing, or whether Cairo will be able to shut down that snowball rolling on the Akali. Of course, both these teams actually picked much more towards the mid-game this game, as opposed to the later game compositions we've tended to see. Really only the Ezreal. Akali, of course, works well relatively late on as well. But you guys want to get involved at LOL eSports on Twitter. You can tweet at us if you think it would be Paris Saint-Germain taking that final promotion spot. Hashtag PSG win. If you think Fnatic Academy have it in them to chase their sister team into the LCS, it's hashtag FNA win. This is it. This is for all the marbles, Vedius, for all the desserts, for all the chocolate pudding and custard. And we are on to the Summoner's Rift. We're about to get on the Summoner's Rift.
I was enjoying the defense music.
I enjoyed it as well. And this is an intense game. This is, both the teams will be drained after 3 very long games and 1 shorter game. Emotionally, mentally, this is the point at which the experience really starts to show its true colors. All of these teams are very experienced. Blank Pilot experienced in LCK. White Knight played in Season 3 LCS. All of Fnatic Academy, apart from Niski, have played on this very stage, on the very LCS stage that we stand on today, Vedius. Spruttle's been there.
30 seconds.
There is no member of these teams that has not played at the highest level. Niski's the only one perhaps you could look at and say he hasn't quite been at LCS level before, but everyone will know that this is it.
And now they're looking. They're looking now to make it their way back in. They're so close, 1 game away from being able to make it into the promotion tournament. That's the first step. Giants, Origin, and Misfits Academy have already been locked in. There is 1 spot that remains, and one of these 2 teams has to take it. We've had such a great series, so back and forth. Both teams demonstrating high highs and low lows.
High lows and low highs.
That too. And it's all culminated down into this now. The LeBlanc is the main matchup that I'm looking at. LeBlanc into Syndra. talk a little bit about it as we see Blanc pastoring. Blanc? Yes, Blanc.
Yeah, Blanc into LeBlanc. I doubt Blanc will get as easy a start as he did last time. Doubt he'll be able to get that far ahead.
So, yeah, talking about this matchup, one of the reasons as to why Syndra was always considered actually a decent pick into LeBlanc was because early on, Syndra can trade very well with a lot of other mid laners. And every time LeBlanc dashes in, because she travels in a line, I was thinking linear and line, ended up with Lin. If you ever travel in a line, it becomes very easy to set up the stun, right? So Syndra can very easily punish the aggressive tendencies of Nisqy, but at the same time, if Blanc wastes cooldowns, like wastes the stun and doesn't land it, throws out the W, there's a big cooldowns early on that LeBlanc can look to punish. So it's very skill intensive. You have to manage your cooldowns very efficiently. Managing how the wave is set up is also really important, because if you can, you want to land a couple of basic attacks in there too to proc the Thunderlords, so having the minion wave advantage really helps.
Blanc is going to get ganked, jump in here. Blanc's going to flash away. Kyrie's just around the corner as well. Might engage onto Nisqy. Double flash used. 2 flashes for 1 in favor of PSG.
Like the movement from Kirei to be able to respond from the early gank from Amazing. You can see that they wanted to try and burn some of the spells from Blanc to make this matchup easier for Nisqy, who is running that teleport. But the fact that Kirei is able to get in there with the counter gank prevents anything too difficult or too bad from happening onto Blanc. A lot of summoner spells traded in the mid lane.
I was going to ask, how important is the summoner disparity in the fact that Nisqy has the teleport and Blanc has that ignite? Is that going to be a telling matchup here, or is it just going to make it a little bit easier for Nisqy to roam around later on?
Basically, it sets you up very nicely for the 1-3-1, right? Like, with the double teleport, what you have is very much what we saw in the Echo game from Fnatic, which was... Let's see if I can remember it. It was actually game 1, which was very, very close, which PSG did end up actually taking. You lose a little bit of lane dominance as a result of it, but what you gain is the ability to move off into a side lane, which PSG will have no answers for in the later parts of the game. Like, in the past, they've had Tristana, they've had Ezreal, who have a lot of disengage, have a lot of mobility in their kit to avoid any of these possible collapses, but this time round, PSG do not have anyone. So it is integral that they do not give any significant leads over to either Kikis or Nisqy.
Teleport in by Nisqy just to get back to the lane. This is one of the strengths, of course, of having that TP. You can get yourself back there a little bit quicker. We actually saw Pilot and Mr. Rales, Pilot and Spot were getting pushed in by Mr. Rales and Clyde early on. Clyde decided to go for Call of the Void, the Malzahar Q to start us off, which meant he was getting a lot of poke down behind those minion waves, and the silence, of course, helps. But now it seems to have switched in favor of the Jhin and the Zyra. Kickers, that's just a little bit rude, isn't it? Mark of the Assassin down just to stop White Knight being able to back. Does mean that White Knight might lose a little bit of XP to the tower. There's always something you want to avoid.
But he will be able to CV back to lane.
Yeah.
He doesn't need to hold on to it that early on into the game. We talked about this matchup in particular earlier on in the day, but just as a recap, what you do have is a lot of pushing power from Kikis. Usually he wins out on a lot of the extended trades. Akali really benefits a lot from drawn-out trades because of the amount of sustain that she gets on her passive, and the fact that she relies pretty heavily on cooldowns and repeated uses of the low cooldowns that she has on her abilities often means that if the Nautilus tries to drag out these fights, you usually just end up losing. So that's why Kikis will normally have the push advantage, and what's really obnoxious is how long that Mark of the Storm actually lasts. Not Mark of the Storm.
Assassin Mark.
The Assassin's Mark. How long it actually lasts, which means you think you can wait it out. You can't. Now, Kirei, he has just used his jump.
That he has. Amazing's going to get taken low. Clyde is here, though. Flash away by Kirei. Clyde flashed in as well. I was about to mention this because Clyde's made a very interesting decision choice here. He's, instead of going towards the Sightstone early on, he's going towards the upgraded Frost Queen's Claim. Sorry, Frost Fang. And hasn't got himself a Ruby Crystal. So they're going to go for a 3-man dive in the top lane here. White Knight flashes away, does have the depth charge. Could have perhaps waited a second on that. Kikis goes into the Twilight Shard and Clyde just tanks it up. But it does mean that Fnatic Academy are relying very much on control wards for vision early on. And if Sprattle spots out a few of them, he can start to deny some of that vision advantage.
I like the dive coming out from Fnatic Academy. Didn't quite go the way that they wanted because White Knight had hit that level 6 mark. You can see that White Knight, he wanted to try and punish Kikis for taking tower aggro, but using the Twilight Shroud, it actually gives you a small dash, so you get put towards the edge of the Shroud. He was able to get out of tower range, didn't end up losing his life. It's always a good thing for Fnatic in the early game. Things remain even, as you rightly said, Blanc not quite having the same sort of game that he did in game 4.
I mean, it helps when the enemy team doesn't give you like 3 kills early on.
Very, very true. But this bottom lane is the one I'm actually very interested in as well, because I do not think the Jhin pick was a great pick here. I think it's very risky. Especially when
explain why.
Because of how low in terms of mobility the Jhin is. He's super easy to punish in these team fights, right? And sure, he's going to be standing back and just keeping a distance using his ultimate, but it's such a gamble, because if Akali even remotely gets close to you, you will die so quickly. You do not have enough self-peeling tools. Zyra is not the strongest at self-peeling. Think of all the mobility that both Akali and LeBlanc have of being able to dive onto that backline, and the reason why Jhin is good is that typically he does bad into tanks, and there aren't really that many tanks other than Amazing on the side of Fnatic, so he'll do a lot of damage. If he's able to land a crit onto Kikis, it will melt him. It's a very valid point, but I still think there's a lot of risk associated with it. And we've seen in the past that when he did go up against Kikis' Echo, he struggled to have that much of an impact.
He just got caught off at the back of a fight a lot of the time.
Exactly that. And what we've seen throughout the series is actually Fnatic's great ability to get deep vision in, to be able to set up for these flank TPs. And I think as a team, they have a really good understanding of how to not only set up 1-2-1, but how to use it in forcing fights.
It definitely worked out for them in game 2. However, since then, PSG have adapted, they've learnt. Amazing once again coming up towards the top lane for a gank. White Knight doesn't have flash. Kikis is going to jump in. Amazing dead. Dredgeline connects a long way away. And White Knight will be able to get himself back under the tower. Death charge onto Amazing. Actually might take him out. Not quite enough damage. That was close.
Very close outplay. White Knight once again looking for that 2v1. Doesn't quite find it, but it will force Amazing back with no kill going over to Fnatic once again. The fact that he survived is actually allowing PSG to set up pressure down in the bottom half of the map.
See, this is the power of Jhin, because he can push in this wave and then just open up the curtain call if he wants. Try and force Fnatic Academy to make a misplay. White Knight under turret will get the first stun off. Staggering blows onto Kikis. Next Dredgeline into the stagger. Flash away by Kikis. Amazing is low. Amazing will die to the tower here. Won't be able to survive. White Knight takes out one in a 2v1.
And now, PSG with the cross-map play. Look at how low Ply is.
Ply's just dead. Mr. Alice jumps away. There's the flash as well. Blanc looking for the kill. Not available Unleash power yet, but Kaime doesn't care. Another couple of kills for PSG, and this is the PSG we expected to see at the start of this series.
Fnatic Academy come for the return gank in the top side of the map. They want to get Kikis steamrolling just because they weren't able to do so in game 2. Yes, you're able to get the kill, but the fact that not only White Knight gets a return kill and PSG get themselves 2 kills down the bottom lane and may very well get themselves a turret, result in an overall net game going in the favor of PSG.
With these 2 strong mid laners, I really want to, we'll talk about this after the fight, because this is the Void Rushing to dive onto White Knight.
They know that White Knight doesn't have his flash available. They feel that with a big minion wave, they can go for the side, but it is so risky against the Nautilus, who has that stun onto a target every time he hits a new individual. And sure, you end up getting the kill, but while all this is happening, PSG make exactly the same play down on the bottom half of the map. They have 4 members. LeBlanc gets pushed underneath the turret, so Blanc already makes that rotation down way earlier on. Very few summoner spells end up getting burned, so a very easy pickup for PSG, netting themselves that early advantage.
And after that, they were able to take away the blue buff as well, which is the point I was about to make. How important is that in this matchup? If Blanc gets a blue buff and Nisqy doesn't, does it entirely change that mid lane power battle?
Not a massive amount. It just hurts your push a little bit. Now ulti onto Nisqy.
He has got the Negatron cloak though, so he's pretty tanky. Blanc only with a bit of penetration with those Sorcerer's boots, so not too much hassle, just harassing down. Pretty even in that lane at the moment. The only CS sort of discrepancy we see really is up towards the top side, with Kikis developing almost a 30 farm lead over White Knight.
What we would expect from this matchup, we can actually see a 4-man roam down to the bottom side. But to expand upon your point a little bit earlier, the thing about LeBlanc is her mana costs aren't actually that high, so even if she loses a blue buff, she still does a lot of what she was already doing before. So it's not that bad. The cooldown reduction is pretty valuable early on because of how high her cooldowns actually are. But other than that, not that big of an issue. Syndra actually values the blue buff a lot more, and he doesn't actually have it available, so he's going to be forced to go back to base. Likely going to be rushing a early Morellonomicon, and he's just going to sit on the Megatron for a while.
Makes a lot of sense. There's the lost chapter. We'll be looking up towards getting that Phoenix Codex as well to finish out the Morello Nomicon alongside another Amplifying Zone. Just gets the lost chapter for now with that Negatron, so a little bit of extra mana regeneration for him, making it slightly easier just to farm up in that lane. Mountain Drake is on the cards as well, so both these teams will probably try and play around this, but this first tower is going to go in favor of Fnatic Academy. We saw this happen last time the Akali was in the top into the Nautilus matchup. That is a big gold spike. You saw it there, 650 gold extra onto this Akali now.
It's going down much sooner than it did in previous games, though. Fnatic investing way more of their resources into trying to get Kikis ahead. You can see he's already at about 1,200 goldie, which is literally where the gold advantage is coming from for Fnatic right now. This is why we discussed the Nautilus being a risky pick. If you blind pick it, Fnatic have demonstrated that they have an answer to it. But fortunately for PSG, Blanc is still in a good position. That LeBlanc is not snowballing out of control. And now, with PSG around the bottom half of the map, they're looking to set up around this Mountain Drake.
Blue buff steal though for Niski, keeping it away from the Syndra. He said it was more important on Blanc than Niski this game, so he'll be very happy to see his enemy mid laner scuppered in that way. There was a long period of time there where I thought PSG were going to go for that Mountain Drake. They delayed it, and now they'll realize they probably had the opportunity, as Amazing must have been across towards that blue. We're going to see a swap of the lanes as well. White Knight's coming down towards bot side, going to continue to allow Kikis to push in. Kikis highest level in the game at the moment at level 10, matching those mid laners. He's in a very strong position, and perhaps we might see an engage here in the bot side, because there is Dredge line, there's depth charge, there's curse and call up as well. So there's always a possibility that White Knight manages to sneak in and surprise Mr. Rales and Clyde.
Surprised that PSG haven't put
There we go, Mr. Rales caught up, Mr. Rales taken down. Easy enough kill for PSG.
Yeah. As I was saying, surprised that PSG haven't invested more into the bottom lane, given that with all of the investment from Fnatic up top side, I feel like they should have looked to try and trade that tower early on. They will be able to get it now, but Kikis is just doing work in the top half of the map. He knows that White Knight's not going to be there for a while. He can see that Niski was been able to push up mid lane, which means that Blanc has to go the long way around when trying to rotate. Kikis very likely to be able to get this tower.
Kikis is just so far ahead at the moment, and getting this second tower really opens him up on the map as well. It makes it very difficult for PSG to keep track of him. They're going to go for the fight down towards that bottom side. Turret dies, second tower's going to go down. Kikis jump away and then flash the wall. Will escape, even with the unleashed power used on him. But tower for tower, and a gold lead still for Fnatic Academy, all sitting on Kikis with that 30 farm lead.
Fnatic can still be happy with that trade though, sure. Kikis, he has to burn his flash, but a tier 2 tower gone down. Control around the dragon in their favor. Blanc with no ultimate means that Fnatic, they're in firm control of this game. They're not going to relieve the pressure, even though the kill score is heavily favoring PSG right now.
PSG have only really fallen properly behind in one game this series, and they really struggled to get back into it when they did. It was the game 2, I want to say.
It was the Akali game.
It was the Akali game, indeed. That was game 2, and it seems to be just a mirror match of that last game. And here it's really up to PSG to take this game by the scruff of the neck now and work out exactly how they're going to deal with this Akali, because as soon as Kikis starts grouping up with his team, it forms a mighty threat for PSG to deal with.
I think for Fnatic, they just need to keep playing around the map. They know that right now they have the strongest side lanes. In a 1v1 scenario, they should be able to win out. Even with the early magic resistance from White Knight, it's not going to be enough to deal with Kikis. Fascinating that they've actually just sent Kikis down to take down this Mountain Drake.
Might look down towards that bottom lane as well for the tower afterwards. It looks like White Knight has gone down there, so it could just be in a complete lane swap here, with Kikis getting the Mountain Drake, yes, help with a little bit of help from Amazing, but now goes down towards the bottom lane and tries to deal with White Knight.
Yeah, I mean, PSG have realized that there's no point keeping their dual lane down bottom, so they've actually moved Pilot up to the mid lane, and then they've moved Spral up to the top side, or they've actually moved him back mid. Initially, they moved him up top side with Kirei to be able to start sieging onto this tower. Niski is forced to play on reserve because of the numbers advantage that PSG have. But now you're actually looking at a possible dive from Fnatic into this mid lane tower. Look at the positioning of Amazing.
Niski's going to jump back in onto Blanc. Unleashed power comes down. Niski's completed his Abyssal Scepter first, though, so has that extra magic resist. Void Rush by Amazing decides he doesn't want to go for the dive. how important is that Abyssal Scepter first? Because it seems to negate a lot of the damage you might have. Actually not going to be a completed teleport here by Kikis, but it is completed by White Knight, so maybe they'll look towards the Rift Herald or something else on the top of the map. This is something we saw from White Knight actually in game 1, was finishing his TP when really he didn't need to, and they get nothing out of that.
Thing is, it's going to put White Knight in an even bigger deficit now for Kikis. He has such a significant lead already, not only in terms of levels, but experience and farm. It's going to result in another tower going down in favor of Fnatic, all because of White Knight trying to respond to the TP from Kikis, and I feel like he should have stayed.
Yeah, just cancel it out, or even try and stop Kikis' TP. You've got Dredgeline, you've got staggering blows, you've got depth charge. It's another tower going in favor of Fnatic Academy. They had this game very much in their favor early on, 2,000 gold lead. And this is always the point where you have to think, if you're PSG, what is the emotional toll of not being able to do anything? What is the amount that you feel demoralized by this Akali pick? Because at the moment, they just seem to have no answers whatsoever.
I mean, the thing that frustrates me here is that PSG have seen this happen in game 2. They saw how convincingly they lost to the Akali, yet they effectively made exactly the same draft and fell for exactly the same trap. And now we're seeing a repeat performance of what Fnatic did. This isn't what I wanted from a game 5. You would want your teams to learn and adapt to the draft. I thought we saw that from both teams coming into game 3, coming into game 4. But instead, it's just a return back, and Fnatic are calculated, they're calm, they are cleanly gaining advantages all across the map. And it puts a lot of strain onto PSG. They're worried. Like, you can't help but fear. You have to feel like you want to try and do something, but where? Like, if you try and force a play in mid, Kikis is going to take another tower. If you try and force a play up top, Kikis is going to take another tower. If you try and force a play onto Kikis, then he's going to try and get something elsewhere. Maybe you get a solo kill, though.
Nisqy forced back, Ignite does come down, here's the curtain call as well. Nisqy's going to try and dodge around, one distortion gets hit with the shot though, and he'll get taken out. Amazing now in a bad position as Pilot can collapse onto him. Needs to be careful though, because the rest of Fnatic are in that mid lane looking for the tower. Trade objectives, trade advantages. You get a kill, you lose a member on one side of the map, you go mid, you take a tower. They won't quite get it down, but they're very close.
So, this is what we were talking about. Every time you tried to collapse onto one of these side lanes, Fnatic move elsewhere on the map. Now, they aren't quite able to get down that mid-tier 1, but they do get a lot of damage down onto it. Gire overstepping his boundaries a bit.
Now the Gross comes out, Gire just QSS's that off. That's a very early Quicksilver Sash. I know I sound surprised, but that's because I am. So rare we see junglers getting a second item QSS.
Oh, they wanted to mitigate some of the pick potential that LeBlanc and Malzahar do bring.
Looks like it's going to be an Edge of Night for Pilot as well to try and do that.
Very interesting. I mean, it makes a lot of sense, right? You can still make the lethality build work onto Jhin, even after the Death Fire Touch nerfs.
Kikis going to jump onto White Knight once again. Cly is here, of course, no Nethergrass. Kikis locked up with the Deadly Flourish. Tries to get himself away with the Twilight Shroud. He's locked down there. There's the Stranglethorns as well. Kikis will have to flash. Of course, no Curtain Call up for Pilot. And they're not quite going to be able to get too much out of this. Now, coming back to the point we were discussing earlier on, the reactions, the adaptations from PSG. They changed their draft slightly compared to game 1. There's still a little bit of a trade coming on here. Amazing will get locked up for the time being. Denchos comes out and Amazing's just dead. That was just overstay, and we saw that in game 4 as well.
Exactly what we saw in game 4. Amazing, making decisions by himself, not coordinating with his team. Kikis had already been forced back. How do you expect to be able to win out on these extended trades? And it results in a pick going over in the favor of PSG. So they are still finding kills all across the map, but the gold is still in the favor of Fnatic Academy. They are the ones that have so much more map control after taking down that inner tower in the top lane.
However, mid tower still stands, bot tower inner still stands. Objective-wise, it's relatively even, although there's a Mountain Drake and one extra tower in the pockets of Fnatic Academy. A lot of extra CS on Amazing as well over Kyrie, which is a little bit counter to what we usually see from these two junglers. Usually it's Kyrie who is farming more and Amazing who's ganking more. Let's have a look at this, because Kikis is the one who engages.
Yeah, so you can see here Kikis, he wants to try and get a bit of harass down because they're fighting over vision. The thing about control wards is they won't spot a target that is invisible out. So you have to use the sweeper, which will give you a clear idea of where Kikis is, but it won't still give you vision on that individual. So Kikis, he can buy time. But then Amazing, he still hangs around. He wants to fight over this vision. He thinks that with Cly there, he'll be healthy enough to be able to get out. But then here's the pick potential into the hook, the stun, the collapse from PSG. Very swift kill, and another mistake from Amazing.
Indicative of how his last 2 games have gone. Also means Kyrie is sitting on 2 kills. Can build up towards what I think will be a black cleaver next. Kickers is going to steal away this red buff though. With Clown Drake on the card, perhaps Fnatic will start to set up down towards this bottom side. They have 5 members here. Blanc is in a side lane. No turret up there for the tier 1, so he's not going to be able to react quite quickly enough for this, and it's another tower going down for Fnatic Academy.
Dragon on their eyes right now, sitting on a 2,000 gold lead with full vision control of the bottom half of PSG's jungle. Fnatic Academy are certainly feeling pretty confident with how the game is going so far.
That they are in such a strong position. They can taste the EUCS promotion tournament. Of course, the winner of this goes through to that, to face up against either Giants or Origin, depending on who Giants decide that they want to meet in their first game. It's a double elimination tournament though, so always have the chance to win even if you lose against that initial team. And both of these teams have been fighting for that for a long time. They've had tricky roads here, you know, PSG having to bring in White Knight halfway through the split, Fnatic Academy having Dan subbing, having Zergoth subbing, losing Boxer to the main roster, and now having settled on this lineup, looking a lot stronger as a team. But across this series, both teams have had misplays, both teams have had great plays. It has been as close as we expected it to be, Vedius. It has been that 5-course dinner. The starter, the soup course, the fish course, the meat course, and the dessert. And now we are getting to the bottom of the bowl. We are scraping up that peanut butter at the bottom. Here comes the curtain call. Does peanuts of damage onto Fnatic Academy as they retreat. Deadly flourish onto Rales, though, as Kyrie's going to jump straight in. The heal used. White Knight here with a depth charge onto Amazing, looking for the jump. There is the true shot barrage. Kyrie still low. Amazing tanking up a lot of damage in.
Here comes the TP.
Cly, TP, Akali, can Kickis make the play? White Knight takes a nether grasp. Kickis is on the flank. He wants Kyrie. The mark of the assassin is not quite enough. Niski is low. He gets based off. Blank takes Cly. Niski almost caught with the deadly flourish, and now PSG re-engage. It's a double for Blank. He's looking for more. PSG win the fight. 2 kills to naught, and now Kickis is caught out, but he's going to jump in. He takes 1. He loses his life. And it's a 1-for-3 trade in favor of PSG. They're not done yet. Pilot flashes in. The double, the man, the myth, the legend, the Jin. PSG going to get Amazing locked up under tower as well. Pilot's tagging it up. Amazing just about survives. PSG will take the mid lane tower. They are 10 kills to 2 up, and somehow still behind in goal.
PSG nearly get an ace onto Fnatic 24 minutes into the game, and they are still behind in gold. PSG with a fantastic fight somehow are able to turn what should have ended in disaster for them. Fnatic Academy, they couldn't have asked for more. Look at how many resources were invested with little game for PSG. The Zyra ultimate gets 0 knockup. The Jin ultimate gets very little damage down onto Fnatic Academy. And yes, you do get the lockdown onto Rales, but you can't follow it up. He's able to get away from the fight. And then you have the flank coming in from Kickers. This is where you think, oh no, PSG, you've overstayed. You've got nothing left. How can you possibly even think about winning this fight? But look, it's all about Blanc. His stun onto Kickis. The peel that he is constantly providing, the ult and crit onto Niski. The fact that they relied on having White Knight and Kirei soak up as much of the damage as possible to allow Blanc and Pilot to get the damage down is what resulted in them being able to win out that fight, get that mid-tower, but could Fnatic respond with the Baron?
They're rushing for the Baron, the Voidling's tanking it up. This is so low, the curtain call's going to come up, and PSG want this fight. Kyrie's off towards the side, but the Baron goes down. Now will PSG continue? Kickis is in the back, has no flash, of course. Oh no, he does. He jumps the wall with the Twilight Shroud. Amazing, locked up. They're going to lose 1, but they'll take the Baron. Fnatic will be very happy with this trade.
Another great Baron call from Fnatic. We've seen it time and time again throughout this series. They know that PSG took a little bit too long to take that mid-tower. While they were back in base with little vision control, Fnatic saw that as a prime opportunity to steal away the Baron. So even though, again, PSG, they're winning out on these fights, they have a significant kill lead, it is always Fnatic that seem to be coming out ahead overall.
And look at Blanc, and look at Pilot, and you look at PSG and you say, you've got 3 kills on your Syndra, you've got 4 kills on your Jin. So this is just started by Fnatic because they get vision control around the river.
And it was just a good understanding of PSG's response time. They know that there is no way the PSG are going to get there in time in order to stop this from going down. And yes, they get a kill down onto Amazing, but you need the jungler dead before the Baron starts, not after. If they were able to get a kill onto Kickis or Niski, maybe it would have been not that bad for PSG, but you still have the 2 split pushes now. Moving off into a side lane, Baron empowered minions. PSG's answers are going to be very difficult.
It's the story of the series for PSG and for Fnatic as well. Guy actually jumped on here by Rales, but if PSG seem to take an objective and then lose out on Baron straight afterwards, Fnatic are so strong at deciding when to make that Baron call, being able to sneak it away, and PSG just continually losing out on it. Here's the true shot barrage. It's going to land onto PSG, but they will be able to back away. Red buff taken. Rales almost pulled a Joko there as he was knocked back across the wall. Now, the Baron buff just delays this game. We talked about in picks and bans, you know, PSG couldn't give the snowball over to Fnatic. They couldn't let them get ahead. Well, they have 1,000 gold ahead now, almost 2,000, and they have a Baron buff. They got pushing lanes, and they can continue to pressure these towers.
And look at Kikis in the mid lane. All Fnatic have to do is not get engaged upon, and eventually one of these towers is going to go down. PSG, they are being split hard right now.
Look at the CS discrepancy between the Nautilus and the Akali. Almost a flame horizon for Kikis. Almost 100 CS lead for Kikis over White now. Now, he's engaged on once again, but with this Baron buff, there's basically nothing that PSG can do to continue to put the pressure onto Fnatic, and Fnatic have this game in their pocket at the moment. I'm not saying it will stay there. We've seen enough back and forth action this series to know that's not guaranteed, but at this present moment, it's all Fnatic, and it's theirs to lose.
Fnatic, they are being forced back from this bottom tower, but the pressure continues. Right now, PSG, they have no answer for Kikis. This Akali is making life so difficult, and they are going for a collapse.
Yeah, 3-man collapse onto him. There's the Stranglethorns, does use the Zhonya's to try and dance his way around. Jumps on towards Amazing, then jumps to the wall. Great play by them to be able to use that synergy to get the Akali out.
But while this collapse is going on in the mid lane, Fnatic, they take the tier 2 down on the bottom, constantly looking for objectives wherever they see an opportunity.
What is PSG's goal here? What can they do to get back into this? They've got QSS on the Ezreal, they've got QSS on Kairi, on the Jhin, sorry. They're starting to hit big item spikes, but Fnatic are just reading them at every turn. They take their third dragon of the game. It's an Infernal, and perhaps that is the fire they need to burn through the base of PSG.
Oh my word, it looks like the Fnatic Academy have had consistent control over this game.
It's crazy when you look at the scoreline.
I know, right? Like, you think that PSG, they've been winning these fights, they've been doing a great job of finding picks onto Fnatic, but it is always just Fnatic with the very quick movements of saying, look, we can go here, look, we can go there, let's quickly punish them for not being in the right place. And it's allowed them to maintain control over this game. Now, if you are PSG's, as you were asking earlier, you just have to find a way to find a fight, right? You have to force Fnatic to group together, maybe find yourself another pick. They do have a great pick composition, but we've seen time and time again, every time PSG tried to find that pick, Fnatic takes something else somewhere else on the map.
And you have to give credit to whoever is shot calling for Fnatic Academy. I believe it's Cly, because their ability to react to the mispositioning of their enemies has been incredible throughout this entire series. Once again, we see them take a Baron. We see them play cross-map a lot of the time. They're starting to set up this 1-3-1. Kikis moving up towards the top side, Niski down towards the bottom. And this is where it becomes incredibly difficult for PSG. Baron has fallen off, which makes it ever so slightly easier. But it is a minuscule amount of more easier. It's only slightly more easy for them because of how much pressure this Akali has and how much pressure this LeBlanc has, even though she's behind.
But look at all the vision coming out from Fnatic as well. They know that right now it's still a little bit too difficult for them to be able to siege onto the inhibitor turrets. So instead, they're just setting up for the next Baron that will be coming around. That will be the primary target for Fnatic Academy to play around. That could be the window for PSG in order to reclaim control over the game. The big important thing is, notice, look, Fnatic, one member goes back, they're keeping up the pressure. They want to make sure that this vision is intact, ready for the Baron spawning in just under 2 minutes. If all of them go back at the same time, that's going to give the freedom for PSG to just move up through the jungle, clear out all the walls that Fnatic have set up, and then it becomes another fight for vision rather than the Baron, which Fnatic want to take as quickly as possible. They cannot afford to let this game keep going on, because look at that Jhin. 4-0-4 on Pylon, a consistent performer throughout this series, a big part as to the success of PSG. And now the question is, can he be the carry to turn it around? Because I was worried, I'm still concerned for how this Jhin will do in these late game fights, but I want to see Pilot prove me wrong. I want to see if he can find a way in order to win these fights.
Will it be a happy playing or will it be a sad playing that pilots in this final game. PSG need to be able to read when this Baron might be going on. Kikis is still split pushing. He is still a constant threat. Amazing's going in. 3-man knockup onto Kyrie. Pilot flashes out, but Niski's here. Jumps into the mist. Cly is caught up. The Stranglethorns comes down. Spraddle's low. White Knight low as well. Kyrie's jumped away. Mr. Wallace takes down Spraddle. And another kill as the flank comes in from Kikis. And this is it. Fnatic Academy have taken down 2. They're looking for more. Amazing underneath the turret, though. He's going to get caught out by Blanc and slowed. Will burrow his way away. 5 members of Fnatic still alive. The Baron on the cards in only 30 seconds time.
And this is the power of Akali. You've seen her so easily. She was able to dive onto the back line. Blanc being sent off to a side lane means that he cannot join the fray as quickly as he would have liked. Level 17 for both Kikis and Niski. 14 for White Knight. He is not the front line that PSG need. Pilot cannot exert enough damage in these team fights, and it is constantly a team fight win for Fnatic simply because of the comp that they have drafted. Just look at the positioning of Niski and how easily they get onto Pilot. He's already forced to burn his flash and his heal, zoned out of the fight immediately. Niski then takes Kyrie out. Look at Kikis, demolishes the AD carry without an even break of sweat. This guy, it's just too easy for Fnatic Academy.
And as you can see in your picture, Fnatic go for the Baron. It looks like PSG want to fight this one. Kyrie jumped on Baron down, Kick is low. There's Spraddle as well. Unleash power onto Kikis, doesn't quite take him out. They do eventually get the kill. Here comes the curtain call though. And now Fnatic are fighting for their lives. They lose one. White Knight there as well. Blanc is low. Pilot not in the fight. It's up to Blanc and Pilot. Amazing's going to keep chasing in. Mr. Wallace there if he wants to jump forward. They have the Baron. They've got 3 members. And Fnatic Academy win another fight. Look at the TP coming in from Niski up towards the top lane. He wants that inhibitor tower.
Fnatic Academy, even though they lose 2 members, they've taken down the front line of PSG. They have the Baron. They have everything that they need to break into the base. And with those death timers, they might even look to close out the game.
The 2 inhibitors that are about to fall may be the death knell for PSG. From incredibly hyped leading up into the Challenger Series to 5 losses in a row to the comeback kings of the EUCS. Now they may fall at the final hurdle.
Fnatic Academy have been playing so well. They had such a good draft that fits exactly into their playstyle. They knew that with the lead that they had, if they force the Baron, they can win the fight. And it's just systematic destruction. Jin, from afar, sure, he can throw out a lot of damage, but it's just nowhere near the same amount of damage as Akali and LeBlanc. It is just so impressive play from Fnatic Academy. Just the way in which they've been playing this game.
They have played superbly and they understand their draft and they understand what their team composition can do. You look at it, they were 11 kills to 2 down and still they had the gold lead. Still they had the advantage. Still, they were able to pressure PSG out of this game. It shows kills do not matter. What matters is how you take objectives and how you strategize and play as a team.
I think credit is due for both teams in this series. Both really have shown up. Both have forced the other to the very edge. But in this final game, it is Fnatic Academy with the lead, with the Baron buff. And with 2 inhibitors down on the side of PSG, it's only a matter of time before Fnatic can close this one out.
PSG, we've seen games swing on the throw of a late game team fight, the throw of a dice, basically. Here they will be looking for some miracle to win them this game. They can do it, they just need to kill Kikis. It's a lot easier said than done, though, as Fnatic continue to push in the base. The supers are on the Nexus towers. Niski is caught. Deadly Flourish comes out. This is it. PSG take down 1. However, their Nexus towers are going low. Niski's dead, and Fnatic Academy can continue to push in because of how strong Kikis is. Nethergrass down. Stranglethorns as well. White Knight is dead. Rale's on the killing spree. Fnatic locked out, though. They might get taken out. It's all up to Kyrie. He cannot do it. They take out Cly. It's a 3v3, but Kikis is there! Kikis gets another kill, and now PSG, with only 2 members left alive, cannot defend the base. It's Fnatic. They're going to take this game.
You can see the faces of joy on Fnatic Academy as they dismantle PSG and take the final game of the best-of-5 series. Sheer elation on the side of Fnatic Academy. They fought long, they fought hard, and it was just systematic destruction in Game 5.
Just demoralized faces on the side of PSG. They were slated to get through to the promotion tournament. They were thought of as one of the top teams in the EUCS, but Giants can fall. And Fnatic Academy will be eyeing up Giants next. Promotion tournament is theirs in just 2 weeks' time.
I think it's fair to say, though, that this is probably one of, if not the most competitive Challenger Series that we have seen in a long time. All these teams, top 4, the surprises with Misfits Academy, the best of 5 that went to all 5 games between Fnatic Academy and PSG. Just the smallest of decisions, swinging it either way.
When you look at this game, and you have 9 players out of 10 who played at the highest level in the region before. That is how competitive Challenger was. And Fnatic were able to rise above a lot of roster issues, a lot of tribulations and turbulent times in the middle of the Challenger Series split, get themselves that playoff spot and then secure their spot in the EUCS promotion tournament. What a series from them, and what a series from PSG as well.
I think it's fair to say that both teams really did play their hearts out this game. I don't want to say that the game was over in the draft for this final game, but I feel like that given what we saw in Game 2, PSG needed a strategy to play around this Akali because it was guaranteed that he was going to be able to get ahead up in the top lane. It was guaranteed that we were going to see a similar play style to what we saw in Game 2. And PSG, they had no answers. They didn't know how to deal with it. Fnatic executed their composition exactly the way they wanted to. Even after they lost the fight in mid, they immediately went to Baron, and it was just cool, calm, calculated play throughout in this final game when the pressure was really on.
And with Fnatic Academy taking the last spot in the promotion tournaments, here's how the teams for the EULCS summer split will be decided. A little bit of a complicated graphic, so we'll explain it as we go along. It's a double elimination tournament.
Yeah, now this is the promotion tournament. As you can see, Giants and Origin, they're already locked in. Now, Giants, they get to decide who they play against in the first best of 5. Origin, they don't have a choice. Those teams will be slotted in, and the winners of each will move on to the top half of the bracket, and the losers will move down into the bottom half to have another chance. If you lose 2 best of 5 series, you're out of the promotion tournament. If you win 2, you make it in.
That's the easiest way to explain it, Vedius. Win 2 and you're through to the LCS, lose 2 and you are out and you have to try and fight it another day. It's a tough road still to go. All of them best of 5s, of course, so these teams will have a lot to fight for. And we've seen how much a best of 5 can swing just between a couple of teams.
And if you're Giants, who do you choose?
Exactly.
Misfits Academy with the surprising upset against Schalke looking very dominant. And today, 2 very close teams battling it out, demonstrating a really good understanding of what they needed to do and how to win.
I think it's hard to think of who you're going to predict to win going out of this. I think Giants have improved a lot more, but both Misfits Academy and Fnatic Academy have shown me enough for me to think that they might be on their way to the LCS.
Well, we shall find out, because it has been a long road throughout the Challenger Series, and that is it. We have now concluded what is the playoffs.
Spring split for Challengers is finished now. We've only got the promotion tournament left to go. The Fist of Shadow danced her way around the rift here in the last EUCS playoff series. For more, Stress is with Fnatic Academy's top laner and their jungler.
Thank you very much, guys. Exciting cast, exciting best of 5. Congratulations, first of all, you two. Yeah, I'm joined by Amazing and Kickers, 2 of the longest standing EULCS players, and that's got to feel good. Getting a win, putting yourself in the promotion tournament, amazing. Did you expect coming into this that PSG would take it to 5 games?
I didn't quite expect them to be able to take it to 5 games. Like, I knew that individually they had some strength and everything like that, but like, I didn't think they could actually like pull something with it, you know, because like as a team we should be stronger because we have the veteran experience, and like it showed at least in Game 5 where we kind of like were 10 kills down, whatever it is, and we still had a gold lead. And that's how I expect the series to go. But they put up a fight, especially Game 4. They did really well and did a lot of surprising things that I didn't quite expect, and were able to snowball. So no, I didn't expect them to go 5 games. I expected us to like 3-0 or 3-1, but I'm glad that we pulled out anyway in the end.
Really close game, good victory though in the last game, as you said. Down in kills, but never looked out of it, up in gold. And part of the reason you're up in gold, Kick, is Akali. Game 5 seemed to be a bit of a difference maker. We saw it twice from you. Maybe you want to talk a little bit about this Akali, the Nautilus. What makes Akali good for you right now?
Well, with how the series has been going, and even in the Game 1, we saw it was really slow. And with how they played as a team, I just saw that they are really anxious to pull the trigger and teamfight, because they didn't seem to know what to do when I was on the sides, like pressuring really hard. So I thought Akali was just a good pick, because I knew like when I played Shen, like it's purely like team-based, and I cannot really get advantage. And like we need to get advantage as a team. But I knew that with Akali, I can just style on this guy against Nautilus, like get enough pressure and advantage that is actually gonna be really strong. So it was like purely because I practice this champion a lot, and with how slow the series is on stage, and with how I am playing aggressive always. Like I played the same way in scrims and in here, that it was a good pick.
Certainly pays off. Fun to watch as well. Very exciting, and an exciting showdown that's coming our way soon, maybe. The promotion tournament, it's all been drawn with the teams. Amazing. There's one team in there that you know very well. Origin find themselves in the promotion tournaments. Any thoughts on them as potential opponents in a couple of weeks' time?
I think kind of sad, to be fair. Like, obviously, like, given the fact that Origin, like, I mean, even the split that I was in, basically, like, before my departure, like, we didn't perform to our standards and didn't perform to what we wanted to have. And it's just sad that this trend continues, you know, that I basically am almost bound to relegate my old team, you know, like, that's something I don't want to do. But, yeah, I'm looking forward to playing them if they happen to pick us, because I think that's how it works, right? And I think if we play against them, like, they're inexperienced, especially now that they kicked Wisdom and replaced him with Syncroft, I think that move actually kind of like took their footing almost, where people thought that maybe Wisdom, I don't know what the behind the scenes stuff is, but like maybe that Wisdom wasn't as good, or like there was a problem behind the scenes, I don't know. But I think replacing someone in the middle of the split with rookie jungler, it's funny that I say that, but is always dangerous, because you don't know where it's going, you don't know how this guy will adapt to stage. And so far, I think they have looked worse with Syncroft than they've looked with Wisdom. So I don't expect them to put much of a fight unless Ducky, for some reason, is able to pull out like a magic trick, you know, like. But unless that happens, I think if we play them, we'll probably beat them.
I'm looking forward to a potential showdown. As you said, the LCS highest seeded team does get to choose, so it's not guaranteed, but maybe we'll see it in the promotion tournament. I know you guys are very excited, itching to go back and celebrate. One last question, Kikis. We've been here a couple of times. Unicorns of Love, you went to the finals after you got through the promotion tournament. G2, you won the finals after you went through the promotion tournament in the following split. Is that what this team's doing? Are they finals bound for summer? Is this the road to Worlds for you again?
I mean, to be exact, I didn't qualify with you all. I was with SK Prime back then, and we actually failed to qualify. But yeah, I joined you all after. So the only instance I qualified to LCS was with G2, and we took it like really well, because we were Challenger Series, then we switched to players, and we went to winning Europe LCS in one split. So maybe you can do the same here and actually like go for the hype Worlds run or whatever.
Well, we're all looking forward to seeing where the Fnatic Academy lineup ends up placing. Of course, they're in the promotion tournament now alongside Misfits, Academy, Origin, and Giants. That's going to take place starting on the 6th of April at 5 p.m. CEST. As for League of Legends this week, we've got the European LCS returning at 5 p.m. CEST this Thursday. It's week 10, the final 4 days of action. Be sure to join us. You won't want to miss it. The playoffs race is truly on.
You want to play? Like, we can win without him.
No balls. I'm just here for the looks.
TV coming in the backline, amazing flashes in, onto Pilot, onto Kyrate, Cly there as well, but Mr. Rales is low, as is Cly. The TP's coming in, Niski's gonna look for a 1v3 play, because Cly is dead, as is Mr. Rales.
Forward. I'm in.
Nice. Dash.
They're gonna fight the 4v5, but now that Blanc is here, Niski called out, and Niski shut down by PSG. Stand United as well, they're trying to save their mid laner, but will they save the game? Kikis is in the front line, he's gonna go down into GA, one member already dead for Fnatic, and they're running for the hills as PSG manage to collapse and take down 2. PSG going for the Nexus, they're so close to game 1 of this series, and now take it down. PSG go 1-0 up.
I will exhaust last. Get out.
Get out. I'm fine.
Varus. Now.
Nautilus.
Push me. Use both side. TP bot. Change this guy.
The Fnatic advance. It's gonna be a 1-on-1, and we have a series on our hands.
Are you ready for game number 3?
Hell yeah.
This is game 2, I thought.
Ali.
Ah, goodbye,
Nice.
bro.
Nice.
Good job.
Look. Can kill.
Nice.
Fine. Really nice.
Do it slowly, they get it. The shockwave onto Clyde might mean that PSG continue this chase. Gravity well down, the redemption as well will keep Clyde alive just for the moment, but it's not long enough. Taken out, and here's Kikis. He's getting onto that Tristana, tries to get the kill. Pilot trying to do what he can, it's just not enough. Fnatic Academy turn it around, they defend the base, they take the ace. Fnatic Academy hold on to the game.
Hey, one TP.
No, jump.
Drop. It's okay, no objective.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, no objective.
Very good.
Looking for the flank, flashes in, gets the sphere down, and takes the kill. Hook doesn't land onto Clive, but all you have to do is press R.
Nice.
We got him.
Nice.
Hey, careful, we take mid tower.
Depth charge knocks up two. Amazing is dead. Blank is legendary. And PSG can just continue to push in. Niski taken out through the Stand United, through the barrier. 26 minutes. 14,000 gold, 15 kills to 3, and it's gonna be 2 and 2.
Yeah, we can. It's only 2.
Okay. I'm not there.
Oh, nice.
Nice, tower.
Kai is caught up, the Stranglethorns comes down, Spraddle's low, White Knight low as well. Kairos jumped away, Mr. Rollis takes down Spraddle, and another kill as the flank comes in from Kikis, and this is it! Fnatic Academy have taken down 2, they're looking for more, but Kikis is there! Kikis gets another kill, and now PSG, with only 2 members left alive, cannot defend the base. It's Fnatic, they're gonna take this game.
Oh!